Hi, we have come a long way into genetics now, where we have practiced different types of genetic crosses, starting from monohybrid to dihybrid crosses, and then we've also seen cases where genes are linked, so they don't actually follow the exact phenotypic ratio of dihybrid cross if two genes are too closely linked with each other in the same chromosome. So now we are going to explore another new objective of the genetics crosses portion, where we'll see that actually when Mendel performed these crosses, did he really get an exact 3:1 ratio of phenotype in the F2 generation, or did he get the exact 9:3:3:1 proportion of every phenotype in the F2 generation in his dihybrid cross or not? So let's see why sometimes the actual results, not sometimes but always, the actual results of genetic crosses are rarely ever same as the predicted results. So here we come across again the prominent term, that is probability, and how probability is very tightly linked with genetic crosses. Let's understand this through two cases. In our first case, let's say capital G stands for yellow cotyledons of seeds of a certain plant, and small g stands for green cotyledon phenotype. So the small g allele will represent green cotyledons and the capital G allele will represent yellow cotyledons. Now we have to cross two plants, assuming that both of these plants are heterozygous. What will be the expected ratio of their offsprings? We have to show by a working. So here by offsprings, we are going to calculate the F1. Okay. Similarly, in the second case, we are going to see what will the offspring's phenotypes be if the parents are heterozygous for stem length, that is stem height, long stem height. So both parents are capital T and small t. Let's see. So in the first case, where both the parents are capital G small g and capital G and small g, here are the gametes of the parents on the row and the column headings, and here are the genotypes predicted or expected genotypes of the F1 generation. So here we can see that the F1 phenotypic expected ratio is 3 yellow cotyledons is to 1 green. That means there will be a 75% chance that the offsprings will be having yellow cotyledon and a 25% chance of having a green cotyledon offspring. So this is the expected ratio. For the second case, similarly, the expected ratio would be 3 tall height plants is to 1 short height plant, or 75% of the offsprings will be tall, while there will be a 25% probability that the offspring may be a short length stemmed plant or a dwarf. Now this is easy. It's easy to theoretically predict the genotype, and from the genotype, theoretically predicting the phenotype of the offsprings is easy. But when Mendel performed these experiments, this is what his results were. So 6020 yellow cotyledons is to 2001 green cotyledon. And when he so let's say the total number of offsprings he got was 6020 plus 2001, that is around 8021 cotyledons, offsprings. And from these 8021 offsprings, these were the distribution or proportions of yellow and green ones of offsprings. When he converted this value into a ratio, he found that the ratio is 3.01 is to 1, not exactly 3 is to 1, because we know that the monohybrid phenotypic ratio is 3 is to 1. Similarly, in the second case of tall and short stem length plants. He didn't get an exact 3:1 ratio, but he got a 2.84:1 ratio. So now the question is, why is this not the same exact 3:1 ratio that we always expect in a theoretical Punnett square? Why is the Quaternion ratio of the offsprings close to the expected ratio? So mark the words which are in bold letters here. We are trying to explore that in genetic crosses that Mendel proposed, where I should actually get a 3:1 ratio. Why am I getting, practically when I'm conducting these experiments, why am I getting ratios close to it but not the exact same? So here is the explanation for that. The ratio that we get is actually a measure of relative sizes of the two classes. So the two classes may be the two types of results that you're expecting. So out of those two types, you will get a relative idea of what will be the proportion of each class in your F1. So the ratio is a measure of relative size of the two classes, and each part of the ratio, that is the numerator and the denominator, will tell you the proportion of each classes that you're expecting. Now, discrepancy means how close you are to the real ratio, theoretical or expected ratio, or how far away you are from it. This is called discrepancy. That could be due to a statistical error, means the sampling that you have, number of samples that you have collected, or number of offsprings that the parents gave rise to. Based on that, there may be some statistical errors. But the most important thing is, in genetics, we always know that offspring's phenotype is completely a chance factor. You can predict their genotype and phenotype, but there is no rule that the offsprings will always be of a certain phenotype. So chance determines which gamete will fuse with which. We always know that chance plays a very important role in genetic crosses, because which allele is, whether the sperm has the dominant allele or the recessive allele, or the ovum which fused with the sperm has a dominant allele for that character or recessive, that is a complete chance. So when they fuse, they will fuse at a very random chance of becoming a heterozygous dominant or a recessive offspring, or maybe a homozygous dominant. The larger the sample, the more likely the actual results are to come near to the matching theoretical ones. So, if the parents were crossed and a large number of offsprings were produced, the larger the number you get in your F1 generation, or the larger the number of offsprings you get in F2 generation, there is a higher chance that your Mendelian phenotypic ratio will be very close to the expected one, that is very close to 3:1. If you have few offsprings, then there is a high chance that all the offsprings that you have got coincidentally are showing dominant traits and no recessive traits, or all of them may be showing recessive traits, but that is not the true result. It's very discrepant from your actual or theoretical ratio. So, what does a geneticist do? In fact, let us think, put ourselves into Mendel's shoes and think that how did Mendel know how much close to the 3:1 ratio, or how far away from the 3:1 ratio is still okay? That means it's still acceptable. To understand that, Mendel performed this test called the chi-squared test. So actually this test is proposed by Carl Pearson, and it was a mathematical or more so a statistical test to test that the amount of expected and observed result difference that you are getting, is that still okay to accept or not okay. So this is a statistical test that will allow us to compare our observed result with the expected result and decide whether or not there is a significant difference between them. So if I got 2.78:1 ratio, but actually the theoretical ratio should be 3 is to 1. Should I still consider my experiment to be a success, or my ratio is not close to the expected one, or something is interfering in my results? Some other variable is causing this change. So that's what we find out through the chi-square test. Chi-square test assesses whether the deviation from the expected results are significant or simply due to chance. So by chance, maybe I got a 2.78 is to 1 ratio, but the actual theoretical ratio is 3 is to 1. So should I just consider it by chance, or is there a reason why I got that 2.78 instead of 3 in my monohybrid cross? So to determine that, we do some probability. So they determine the probability of results due to chance. Observed results often differ, usually because of chance events. So now we know what the theoretical ratios are proposed by Mendel, but observed results always differ from these ratios. The reason is we can never control the randomness of fertilization. That is, we can never control which type of allele sperm will fuse which type of allele containing ova or ovum. Then there is always independent assortment and crossing over during the meiosis of the parents' uh, gamete formation period. So those also bring about lots of variation. So because of these variations, you can never tell that exactly while monohybrid or dihybrid cross you're going to get a exact 3 is to 1 or exact 9 is to 3 is to 3 is to 1 ratio. So in the next task, you are going to study how to do a chi-square test in genetics or during genetic crosses. To understand that, you will be watching a lesson video with simple examples to start with. That's all. Thank you.